India 2-0 up in the series, eyeing a first ever T20I series win in New Zealand. You expect the hosts to fight back hard after going down so timidly in Auckland. We're looking ahead to the third T20I on ESPN Cricinfo Matchday with Sanjay Bangar. Right, Sanjay Bangar is with us. Let's look ahead to the game as the action moves to Hamilton, Seddon Park, a slightly more conventional looking cricket ground. And as we look at our 5 things to watch out for, we start with number 5, and that is, can New Zealand stage a comeback in this series? It was fairly one-sided in that last T20 after the impressive game we saw in the first. And we're looking at the form for New Zealand, Sanjay, since 2018. They've played 5 T20I series at home, this being the 6th. They've lost to Pakistan, Australia, then there was the Tri-Series. They won against India in 2019. You were part of that team. We don't expect the hosts to fold so easily. That was a disappointing performance in the second game. You expect them to hit back?
It'll be difficult for them because the middle order is not firing for them. As also they lack that depth in the fast bowling department because they're missing out on a lot of their premier bowlers.
There is an issue with the middle order. It fired to some degree, but it didn't give them the sort of finish that they wanted in the first T20I, and it didn't do much in the second at all. So we look at our point number 4, and that is, of course, New Zealand's middle order. Can it step up? As we look at some numbers now, they've been facing some issues between numbers 3 and 5. Colin de Grandham's not having a good time at all against the Indian bowlers. And then you look at the poorest strike rates for numbers 3 to 5. This is since Jan 2018 in the top teams. And you find New Zealand a strike rate of 125. They'll have to do better than that, you think, against this fairly strong Indian batting order. At number 3, we've got our next big talking point. A large reason for that strike rate being restricted is Jasprit Bumrah, and his return to the Indian side. He doesn't seem to have any signs of those injuries that kept him out of the game for almost 6 months. The Bumrah threat is looming large, and as we look at Bumrah's numbers in this series, we're looking at a total of 17 dot balls in the 2 games put together. The economy rate in the second game, 5.25. He picks up only the 1 wicket. Sometimes it doesn't do justice to his numbers. The other bowlers pick up the wickets that Bumrah in some way has created. But what's been his biggest threat for you in this series, Sanjay, with the way he's bowled on 2 different pitches?
See, I think most opposition batsmen are wary of him and they tend to give him that sort of a respect, and hence basically they wouldn't take any risks against him. So I think that is one of the reasons why he's not actually getting a lot of numbers in the wickets column, but he's doing a fabulous job for the team. As far as how a batsman can cope up with him. Now many times you've seen that whenever the batsman having some issues against bowlers who have weird sort of an actions, who have different type of deliveries or who deliver from a different sort of an angle, they try and simulate those angles, those conditions in match situations. But against Bumrah, it is very hard to simulate his bowling action, or for that matter, it was the case with Malinga as well. And so far, as often as the batsmen don't actually get to simulate quite a bit, they'll always find difficulty in picking up the lengths that such bowlers actually deliver.
Now, Sanjay Bangar talks about this wonderful point of how the batsmen have to give you respect when you're a bowler like Jasprit Bumrah. I wonder if Martin Guptill's offering too much respect. Here are some interesting thoughts from the New Zealand opening batsman on India's premier fast bowler.
I think the guys are trying. There's a lot of swing and missing, and that can happen. Obviously, playing against one of the best death bowlers in the world. He's got a great slower ball, hits the hole pretty well, and he's got a great bouncer. So it's pretty hard to get Bumrah away at the end, and hopefully he can have 3 off nights for us coming up.
All right, let's move to point number 2 as we make our countdown to the 5 things to watch out for from this game. And that's another high-scoring affair that you can expect at Seddon Park in Hamilton. Now, you did expect a high-scoring affair at Eden Park in the second game, but a used pitch changed that a bit. But as we look at Hamilton's venue stats, last 3 T20Is, the average first inning score being 191. When New Zealand and India played here last year round, they managed to get 200 plus both teams, but India fell short by 4 runs. So keep an eye out on the sort of batting that you see in this game, because the average for both pacers and spinners significantly high. Economy rate also quite high, as you'd expect on a lot of grounds in New Zealand. Now, if you look at Seddon Park in Hamilton and whether this ground is a little different from others in New Zealand, it certainly is in terms of shape and size. More conventional, more circular than Eden Park in Auckland. Straight boundaries, 60 to 63, 64 meters. So it's not the biggest of straight boundaries. That having been said, it's a little more consistent than Eden Park. That on the other side, the square boundaries, you'd have one boundary, which is unique, at about 72 meters, and the other one is much shorter at 58, which usually dictates the end that the spinners bowl from. And as we go to our number one point, it's a point that someone who's from these parts of the world in Mumbai would enjoy. Shreyas Iyer, who's slowly cementing his place as the middle order batsman, not just in ODIs but also in T20Is. He's coming of age is something we'll talk to Sanjay Bangar about, who spent, I'm sure, enough time with Shreyas Iyer, or maybe not enough time with Shreyas Iyer. He would have been a handy off batsman in this kind of form, perhaps going into the World Cup, Sanjay. But as we look at his numbers in the first and second T20I, he's coming into this mature sort of role of seeing the chase through, if so to speak.
See, I mean, as middle order batsmen and as top order batsmen, basically top order batsmen have to assess the conditions, but middle order batsmen have to assess the situation that they go in. So they'll have to maybe plan each and every innings differently and suit and adapt to the thing that is required at that particular point in time. So somebody like a Shreyas Iyer, who is now exposed to various conditions. I mean, since the West Indies series, he's played in each and every T20, he's played in each and every one days, and that is the reason why he's continuing to flourish with each outing.
Sanjay Bangar, thank you very much. Shreyas Iyer looking good, Bumrah looking good. We haven't even mentioned KL Rahul because he's just brilliant, and India would be favourites going into this third T20. I'll be back with Sanjay Bangar to preview the fourth game on ESPN Cricinfo Matchday.